hooked in the game.
What is quite simply one of the most strangest transfer stories probably of all time. Lenny Yoro is now an Arsenal player after spending just 5 months at Manchester United. Oh, and there's a small matter of Brighton taking on Arsenal too. Well, sometimes in football we love it because of the unpredictable stories it can cook up. And for the 24-25 season, 4 days into 2025, we have another unbelievable story. And it involves Arsenal once again. Just 5 months after signing for Manchester United as a youngster to bolster their defensive options, Lenny Yoro is now an Arsenal player. Yeah, we can't believe it either. It's one of the most strange U-turns in all of sporting history, well, football history anyway. And in football, it rarely ever happens. Most signings are tied down for at least a year, but we all know that Ruben Almiron has been making cuts in the Manchester United kind of realm at the moment, with a lot of job losses being reported. Erik ten Hag's sacking, Ruben Almiron's appointment, and under all of that, it seems like not just the club is getting restructured, it could be the team on the pitch too. Is this simply just to try and make some funds to support Almiron later in the year when next season starts? Well, we'll try and focus on a football game today. We have Brighton versus Arsenal for the American Express Stadium. The last time these two met, Arsenal won by 5-2. Ironically, they celebrated the signings of Alexander Isak, Raheem Sterling on loan from Chelsea, and Mikel Moreno from Real Sociedad. We're here again at the other end of the calendar, and the other end of the kind of stadium in appearance, and we got another one. And Lenny Yoro, unlike his previous 3 signings just mentioned, he actually gets a start right off the bat. Wow. Well, I don't think Arsenal fans could truly believe it, but now the selling of Gabriel Jesus is starting to make sense. And if Yoro is one person coming through, could there be another? Of course, Roberto Neto has gone back to Bournemouth now, as we said at the Brentford game. Jesus has now been sold. So, is Yoro a Mikel Arteta signing, or just a signing from someone who probably the board have looked at not the lack of defensive options, but just really, we have said that Arsenal could probably do with a defensive rotational player, and Yoro kind of fits that description. So, is it a board signing or an Arteta signing? Well, Arteta says he welcomes it. Yoro is a promising youngster, and he really hasn't had the time to shine at Manchester United. And with all the turnaround that's going on there, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the first of many that could be leaving the club this transfer window. Because we all know that Almiron really has been very vocal about literally none of his players fitting into the system he wants to run, and he's been very, let's say, stubborn and not really changed it. So Yoro has, I guess, wanted out, and now he's at Arsenal, who are challenging for the league title. And he was a very cool £20 million or so, and I think that's much more than United paid for him, so they've actually got a bit of a bargain out of the deal, to be honest. Here's Ethan Nwaneri getting another start today in the absence of Bukayo Saka. We are hearing that he is about 2-3 weeks away from possibly returning. So that'll be a bright spot for Arsenal as well. Kai Havertz is also kind of making his way back into the lineup as well. And youngster Daniel Jennings gets another appearance on the bench because David Raya, of course, starts in goal. Jennings is really going to play a role on the bench for the rest of the season unless he does get a start somewhere down the line. But every game from here on out for Arsenal, considering their league position and cup positions, is vitally important. So I don't think we'll see him this season unless something has been automatically done. And what's really funny is, I think next time for Arsenal is actually the FA Cup third round match between Arsenal and Manchester United. And because Yaro has been cup tied with Manchester United in previous competitions, I'm not sure if it does account for the FA Cup, but to my understanding, he is now cup tied and will not be able to play for Arsenal in, I think, any cup games at all. Apart maybe the Champions League, I don't know. I don't know how it works, but I do know that sometimes signings are made and players can either not play or play due to being cup tied with another team. I'm not sure how Euro being in the Champions League or FA Cup would affect that, because the FA Cup hasn't even started with Manchester United. So technically, he probably could start there. Whether he will, we don't know. But what a bizarre story. What a bizarre signing. 5 months after signing for Manchester United, and now he's at Arsenal. It's quite a bizarre story. It's quite an interesting turnaround, but I think it is something that probably both teams agreed it needed to be happen. Ruben Almiron literally doesn't have any signing of his own or any player of his own, and I wouldn't be surprised if Manchester United don't make a signing in this window, quite honestly, because we all know that Manchester United are well, they're not. Are they facing financial tough times? Probably tough by their standards. It's a good save by David Raya, by the way. But obviously the job cuts are not all encouraging to see. Like we said before, Manchester United, once a great institution, now making job cuts and maybe offloading some players just to get some funds in for others. But then, of course, that is part of the PSR ruling as well. But Manchester United, when you think about it, and the amount they have actually spent on players, probably are very close to maybe going over that mark. So they obviously want to avoid doing that. So maybe that's the reason Euro was signed. Now that you think about it like that, maybe that was the core reason. Well, it could benefit Lenny Yaro if he becomes a Premier League winner by the end of it all. Arsenal still leading by that 1 point at the top of the table ahead of Manchester City after convincingly thumping Brighton by 6-0 in an absolute demolition job. And it just continues Arsenal's really academic rise. I'm not sure if Arsenal were to win the Champions League or FA Cup this season, or the Carabao Cup for that matter, would it actually count? That's Isak coming off the post. I'm not sure if that would actually count as a trophy for him. I mean, he will be at the club at the time that happens, if it does, of course. I don't think it's ever certain. But it certainly would be an interesting point. I'm assuming it will. And Arsenal seem odds on to win one trophy this season with that man, Alexander Isak, in form. He's already hit the post today. And last time out, as we said, between these two, it was a win by 5-2 for Arsenal as they began their life with 3 very stellar signings, one of which in particular being Isak, of course. Moreno has also had his fair share of goals this season. And of course, Sterling is on loan from Chelsea. I'm not really sure if that will be permanent at all. But I think one thing's for sure, he probably won't be going back to Chelsea anytime soon. And of course, Arsenal, as we said, have now freed up a loan slot with Roberto Neto being recalled by Bournemouth in a strange decision, but probably a fair one. And now youngster Daniel Jennings is taking the mantra as, well, substitute goalkeeper, really. And he's really impressed in the youth tournaments that Arsenal partook in this season, so it definitely makes sense for Arteta to do that. And his young core have been very impressive. Maybe that's what makes Lenny Yaro an Arteta signing. Yaro is very young indeed. And he's getting probably his first of very few minutes of football. I think he started the season injured for Manchester United, didn't he? If I remember rightly, I think he did. So Yaro finally is trying to get a run of games involved, but I don't think he'll be playing in the FA Cup for that reason. I don't know whether cup ties actually work, but if they do, then Yaro won't be doing it because he's been cup tied with Manchester United in previous competitions. And here is Isak. I mean, for the Carabao Cup, he certainly wouldn't be playing because of that rule. Because he'd already played for Manchester United in that Manchester derby, and I think the previous round at some point as well. So for the Carabao Cup matches against Manchester City in the 2 semi-final legs, he definitely won't be playing in those competitions. Well, back to today's game. Let's actually get focused into today's game after one of the most bizarre stories of all time. I think that's one of the great unpredictability about sports. You never know what is going to happen. Oh, and now Wanyeri. Wanyeri with a wonderful ball into Martinelli. It's a great save by the keeper. And Martinelli saves again. And he shoots again. It's another good save by Versbergen in the Brighton goal. And now Brighton come forward. And here's Ferguson. Brighton showing a lot more intent this time around. I mean, they certainly did give Arsenal a game last time out, but by the time they'd actually got a foothold in it, Arsenal were a long way out of sight. There's Yaro to Gabriel. It'd be good cover for Saliba and Gabriel, in particular for Yaro. So it's a very system-matched siding that Yaro is, and I think that could be another part of it. He fits into the system really well. The fact that he will play mostly backup or substitute to probably one of the best defensive centre-back pairings in the league, quite frankly, because that is Gabriel and Saliba in a nutshell. So Arsenal still looking to continue their sensational run. They have not lost a game for a couple of months now. They last lost at the clash at the Bernabeu with Real Madrid in the Champions League. But in the Premier League, they haven't lost since before then. Their last loss was at Manchester City in what turned out to be at the time a pretty much crucial match to maybe set the tone for the season. In some way it has, but Arsenal just have been relentless in their scoring and winning prowess, and finally, thanks to a dropped couple of points at some point, it finally has paid off for Arsenal. But the job is not done yet. We've only done one half of the season. It is far from over. But if this man, Alexander Isak, continues to score, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue. That man as well, Gabriel Martinelli, being amongst the goals, definitely been the great catalyst while Saka is out. And one has to wonder whether there might be another right or left winger coming in at Arsenal. And which type of left winger would it be? Would it be another youngster? Or will it be a more established name? Arsenal get the free kick. Well, half an hour gone, and it's a rare sight. Arsenal being held to 0-0 here. There is Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro does have tremendous upside, to be fair. And he's been pretty much experiencing very high turnover everywhere he goes when it comes to being a Manchester United player for that level of time. But all the turmoil and turnover at United is just, it really is just very unusual to see. I know we mentioned them a lot. Here's Ferguson to Seema. Oh, Ferguson and Seema linking up very well here. Brighton's got some intent going. That's a good save by David Raya. Looks on top form once again. Here's Moder with the corner. Ferguson heads it in, but it rolls away. Now is Pedro going to get there? Unfortunately, no. Jorginho. That's a wonderful looking pass, but Isak was beaten to the ball. Now Moreno. Keywar. Keywar, good touch. He's picked out Jorginho. And Jorginho will shoot. And forced to save out of the keeper. Well, Versbergen's getting a lot more saves in than he did in the previous match. It's a good one, to be fair. I always love these hypermotion technology replays. Are quite stunning to see. Jorginho, and the ball's going to fall to Isaac Versbergen. Very well held, to be fair. It's a brilliant take by the Brighton keeper. And Brighton will be very encouraged by this. They've held Arsenal and clamped them down in this first half. It's not easy to do. Here's Weaver. Onyeri. Oh, brilliantly held up, but he's given away to Pedro here. And Raya saves it. And then he holds it. It's not a back pass with Gabriel. Referee signals to play on. I've always seen Jakub Keywar as a central defender, but he can play left back, but he's got the height of a central defender. So it's surprising we don't see him there more often. There's Martinelli. It's a good save by the keeper. Had very little time to react. He stuck his leg out. It's a great save again, but here come Arsenal and the scoring battering ram. Renault. Gets the ball off Onyeri, and Brighton have it again. Well, we said the Crystal Palace game was one of the toughest games of the season. Brighton are actually, in some way, doing better. It's going to be a very, very hard task to beat David Raya in the Arsenal goal. Onyeri to Moreno. And someone from Brighton went down under a challenge from Jorginho, but the referee hasn't seen it. And he goes on with Sima. Sima puts the ball in. It's going to end up with Moreno. Martinelli is going to control it very well. Martinelli has been a different player over this course of this season. Here is Isak. Tomiyasu. Back to Isak. Wonderfully controlled, but he ran out of time. Brighton doing very, very well in this game. A very admirable effort so far. With regard to Isak. It almost feels like Brighton are probably throwing all their players behind the ball that they can spare. Probably trying to hit Arsenal on the counter-attack. Isak. But here comes that blur. Arsenal counter-attack themselves, and Martinelli is offside, and he heard it. Oh, it's a shame. He's literally his toes. Again, it's so close to being another blitzing Arsenal attack. Ferguson. Tackled by Lenny Yaro. Isak. Isak has gone past one, gone past two. Alexander Isak with an amazing run. Oh, it's a great save by the keeper. Versbergen is inspired, and he is the only reason Arsenal are not out of sight already. A valiant effort by Brighton, to be fair, and in particular their keeper. Arsenal, I believe for the first time since Bournemouth, are actually held to a 0-0 draw at the break. Brighton need to be commended for this tremendous effort so far against the premier scorers. Welcome back to the American Express Stadium. Well, we've had all sorts of unbelievable stories involving Arsenal this past week. 6-0 against Brighton. They've signed Lenny Yaro from Manchester United, who has now incidentally been subbed off for Jurrien Timber to start the second half. And now, for the first time in a while, they've actually been held to a 0-0 draw as we begin the second half. And Martin Odegaard has this free kick to take. Will he go with the Leo Galton technique? It's not really worked for him so far. I think he did that against Brentford, and it was straight into the arms of the keeper. Well, if Brighton can take points off Arsenal here, it would certainly favour Manchester City right now. Here comes Odegaard to take this free kick. Oh, he's bent it wide. That's unfortunate. Probably could have done better. So, Yaro has played a very meaningful 45 minutes. The first meaningful set of minutes he's probably played in a football shirt. Well, up until this point anyway. He had obviously featured in Manchester United's lineup. But for the most part, he spent the beginning of his career injured. And then tried to earn a place in Ruben Almiron's lineup. And I guess coincidentally that hasn't really happened. There's Leo Trossard, who came on for Martinelli to start the second half and has come back to hold Brighton again. This time he doesn't celebrate. Great show of respect there from Leo Trossard. But he scores against Brighton yet again. And it's another goal for Arsenal. They just cannot stop scoring. It doesn't matter who's out there. They will always score. And Leo Trossard makes it 1-0. Well, the question now is, how many more? Because with Arsenal, you never know how many they're going to get. And we have another transfer that has happened. Sadejek has gone to Copenhagen. And João Pedro with a shot, and Raya gabs it up, almost at Gabriel's expense for being knocked over. He'll take that. Martinelli to Isak. Isak with a lot of space. Moreno is coming in. Isak decides to lay it off. And it's a good save by the keeper, but in comes Moreno again. Oh! And he should have scored, you could argue. It's a golden opportunity. Ferguson is making way for Danny Welbeck. Don't be surprised if he scores for us, Brighton today. He's always had a habit of scoring against his former teams. And I know that from experience. Seema, not a great header. Well, speaking of the FA Cup, hold on a moment. Trossard's made it 2-0. And Arsenal home and dry on this one, it seems. Brighton will take on Norwich in the third round of the FA Cup as the Premier League teams come to play. And as we reported a moment ago, Arsenal will be taking on Manchester United. Without Lenny Yaro if he is cup-tied and isn't allowed to play. Which he should be by rights, because I think the cup-tie rule does actually include the competition you're competing in. So it could be a fitness choice or just a good rotational choice by Arteta, but whatever team he sends out there, they do the job and they do it very, very well, and that is win games and score goals to win those games. With the Gabriel, now Moreno, Arsenal now are free flowing, and here comes Leandro Trossard again. And he almost got his hat-trick against his former club there. Seema makes way for Matea. Odegaard takes the corner. Falls to Moreno. And Inte gets it away. Here is March. March making a run, and the Arsenal defenders here. Gabriel is met by Danny Welbeck. Actually, Danny Welbeck is met by Gabriel. I had the wrong way round there. Martinelli, Odegaard, and Barco gets there. I'm trying to remember if Barco was sent off in the previous game, actually. It seems so long ago now. And here, and a flying bicycle kick, and I think it was João Pedro who might have hurt himself in all that. Gabriel threw himself in front of it. And we hope Yao Pedro's alright, but he did take a while to get up there. Gabriel had a nip by March there. That could have been very dangerous had that not come off. But Brighton come up with the ball anyway. Here's Welbeck to March. And now Pedro again. The shot to his feet. Oh, it's a stunning save by David Raya. An absolutely brilliant save by Raya yet again. And now Arsenal with a counter-attack, and Jorginho. Isak's with him, as is Odegaard. Jorginho goes down. The referee, no foul. That is astonishing. That is a foul on Jorginho all day long. We've seen sending offs for worse. Or for less, rather. Great tackle by Timber, and Gabriel gets it clear. Brighton definitely look threatening to score. Oh, it's not. Oh, okay. So my match scheduling was wrong. I think the FA Cup match was actually rescheduled. So instead, it is a Manchester Club City Arsenal facing, but it's City instead. And that's the first of the 2 Carabao Cup semi-finals. So that must mean after that is the Premier League for between Arsenal and Manchester City. And then, so that's been changed, I think, at some point. Here's Isak. Goal. Air of inevitability about it. It's Alexander Isak again. For his 18th for the season so far. And probably more than that, considering all the other goals he's scored too. He's got to be approaching 30 goals for the year. Alexander Isak just cannot stop scoring. He's finding his groove with Arsenal now. And if anything can point to Arsenal winning this league, that man would be who everyone points to. Brighton 0, Arsenal 3. Odegaard. And Odegaard's been fouled. And we could have a sending off. I think that might be the last man. It's the Brighton captain who's in trouble. And he's off. Joel Vitamin is off. And I think that's the 4th game in a row now where we've had a red card. And I think something is going to have to be spoke about to the players here. Because we've had a lot of sending offs in our coverage in particular this year. I wonder if something will have to be said to maybe a players' association or something. Odegaard with the free kick. And it was a save by the keeper. And Moreno tries to put it back in. And the referee is blowing for a Brighton free kick. It was a stunning save by the Brighton keeper. And to be fair, he has played well today. But Arsenal's scoring prowess is just too strong. They will get through eventually. And now Brighton have to play the last 20 minutes with 10 men. In a sense of deja vu. Because they had a man sent off in the previous game. Tackle there by Moreno. Timber to Tomiyasu. Jorginho. Jorginho plays through Odegaard. Isak is with him. Will Odegaard pick him out? No, he won't. He goes alone. And he forces a save out of the keeper. Would have been better off passing to Isak, in all honesty. As Trossard turns on the tricks, but I think he turned on a bit one too many there. Weaver. Muda. Muda's gone past Tomiyasu. He's taking them all on. Can't pass Timber though. Martinelli to Odegaard. And will he pick out Isak this time? Yes, he will. Here is Isak. And he's on the par. And Isak has hit the woodwork twice today. Here is Mateo. Danny Welbeck is with him. Gabriel, another great tackle. Oh, he's giving it away. Weaver got there and Pedro's on it. And it's a poor shot. And double substitution for Mikel Arteta. And it's Gabriel making way for Calvori. And Kieran Tierney coming on rather for Kiwar. Oh, and Timber's been dispossessed by Danny Welbeck. Oh, and Raya. What a stunning save again. And that was all made by Yuri and Timber. Almost a very costly mistake. But David Raya was superb again. Headed away by Timber this time. It's only four, and Tomiyasu throws himself in front of that. Danny Welbeck tries to get there. He did. And he scored. What a tremendous goal by Danny Welbeck. Well, like we said, he has a habit of scoring against his former clubs, and he's done so again here. It's a wonderful goal, though. His patience and persistence paid off. It's a stunning strike. David Raya will be very disappointed to not have kept the clean sheet because he's had a stunning game again today. But Arsenal still look like the eventual winners here. But Danny Welbeck does get a goal for himself. And even as he has continued to age, he is still getting the goals amongst his own name. It's a bit of a way back for Brighton, but it could be a spark if they can keep it going. And Welbeck is certainly the man to do it. That was a well-taken goal, to be fair. You can't lay the blame at Darren Ryan for that one. To for Calvori, and now Timber. Tomiyasu. Jorginho. Odegaard. Will he pick out Isak again? Decides to go alone this time. Gets pushed. Isak gets there anyway. That's a good save by the keeper. There's Mateo. There's still time for Brighton to possibly get something from this game. They definitely look up for it. Let's give it away to Martinelli then. There's Tomiyasu. God. And will he try Isak again this time? He holds the ball well. Odegaard decides to go alone. Doesn't want to give Isak any more goals. He's kind of unintentionally freezing him out. I don't think that's the case. I mean, Isak does have his goal for the day, so I don't think he'll frown upon it too much. Tierney and the ball out. Place Isak, and he scored anyway. There you go. 4-1 to Arsenal. It's game over. And it's Alex Isak again. It's another goal for him. That's 19. And he is steadily climbing towards that record. He got his head to that ball and then volleyed it as it came down. A tremendous goal by Isak. As he continues to just score from any and almost every situation. Arsenal home and dry. Brighton 1, Arsenal 4. Well, 19 goals in 14 for Isak. A tremendous rise. And definitely the signing of the season. Tierney. He has made all the difference for this Arsenal side, has Alexander Isak. And Kieran Tierney's coming in. And he's just missed. Everybody wants a piece of that gold cake. But Arsenal have had a lot of this year. Everybody wants a piece of it. Well, he's had a decent game, Versbergen. He's made some really good saves, but Arsenal just are too strong right now. You can definitely tell they're chasing the title. They're taking every game seriously as they can. And of course, they're still in contention for the Champions League. They're in contention for the quadruple, when you really think about it. Their next game, of course, in the Carabao Cup first leg. Actually, that could be the Premier League. I think there was some schedule changes recently, so I think that's why we're seeing it. I think there was a Carabao Cup one first, like the first leg, and then it's the Premier League fixture, and then I think it might be FA Cup against United, and then I believe it would be Manchester City's second leg between them in the Carabao Cup. I think that's the order now that I'm thinking about it. He's moved over to Danny Welbeck. And Gary Ryan makes another good save. Well, all but one, but it ain't going to matter. David Raya will be very disappointed that he didn't get a clean sheet today, because he's had another performance that's worthy of one. But he is going to be still top of the clean sheets board by the end of the night. So it really won't matter too much. Lamperty. The ball in. And Pedro got there. And, well, it took till the second half for Arsenal, which is a rarity, but once one went in, they all did. And it's another vintage performance by Alexander Isak, with another 2 goals to bring his total to 19 for the season. And Arsenal. And new boy, Leroy Yaro, had a good debut as well, even if it did only last 45 minutes. It's another comfortable day in the life of this Arsenal side during the 24-25 football season. Brighton 1, Arsenal 4. So it is time for our score check and what that means for the league table then. So Brighton 1, Arsenal 4 was the confirmed score. Southampton 2, Brentford 2. Crystal Palace 0, Chelsea 0. Manchester City keep pace. Manchester City 4, West Ham 1. Aston Villa 2, Leicester City 2. Bournemouth 3, Everton 2. Liverpool 3, Manchester United 1 in the big game of the day. Spurs 1, Newcastle United 3 is a somewhat vital result. Fulham 0, Ipswich Town 0. So, what that means for the table is that Arsenal still lead by that point, and Newcastle needed that win against Spurs to keep pace, as they are now fallen 9 points. Actually, I think that's 9 points, yes. Liverpool in 4th, but Spurs' win keeps pace with them now. Chelsea are ahead of Brentford, and Bournemouth complete the top 8 as we now go down the list. So Villa into 9th, still a bit below par by their standards, really. Manchester United's season shows no sign of improving, and they're now down to 10th again. West Ham are ahead of Brighton, with Brighton losing today, and West Ham losing also at Manchester City. Fulham, Leicester City, Nottingham Forest, with then Ipswich and Everton still hopefully surviving the drop. Crystal Palace and with Wolves and Southampton respectively, or Southampton Wolves rather respectively, bringing the relegation zone. It's been that way for a few games now.